Hey there, Jay with Couch Off-Road Engineering and DirtBox Overland. Grenadier time. We got some pretty cool stuff we've been playing with on the old Grenadier here. Hopefully not Grenadier. It's been pretty solid so far, but what we're doing is a little bit of front end protection. We're doing just a simple modular brush bar. We're gonna come up with an entire front end for this thing as well, but a lot of people probably aren't gonna commit to the full heavy duty. It is gonna add some weight too when we do that new bumper. That new bumper is also gonna incorporate a different winch mount and some other goodies, but the brush bar is legit. So this now could bolt on to anybody's factory Grenadier or the Quartermaster, which is gonna be available here soon. So this guy, right now in steel form, is weighing somewhere at 37 pounds. We're looking at doing steel, or we're looking at doing aluminum. If we do the aluminum or aluminium for my foreign friends, which is the correct way to pronounce it over there, obviously, the aluminium will bring us down to 28 pounds, I believe. Let us know in the comment section what you guys think, aluminum or steel. Yes, we save a little bit of weight. Strength, we don't really sacrifice much, but expense definitely comes up a little bit. So what's kind of neat here is we basically incorporate, there's a big beefy bracket hiding underneath this fascia piece here. So what's happening is you take this off, the bracket goes on, and we have, as you can kind of see here, I call it a little mohawk poking up. So you're gonna have those two little rows vertical here, and then the bull bar goes on top of that. So nice, solid, very, very solid, because that ties into the rear of the frame mount and throughout the front. Super stout. This portion, however, not super stout, but only as strong as that bumper is gonna really be, because this actually bolts directly to the factory bumper, which is somewhere around 16 gauge. But the reality is, what's kind of nice about this, we have the real thin wall tubing through here. It's about 2.5 inch outside diameter. When you get into the brush and get into the trees, when you push on this, I've already been there, it'll push and it'll flex. It doesn't want to contact. Obviously I don't have a scratch yet, but I can sit there, hit and kind of spring by instead of, it's not damaging anything here yet. So like I said, when we go to the Mega Bull bar, you're gonna be able to knock things over. This one will push things out of the way, but it's probably gonna flex due to the mounting. But because of that large diameter, this is resisting that twisting. So it's pretty damn strong. It's just not MOG strong like what we're used to. So anyway, that's that guy. We'll have a couple tweaks on there as well. We'll incorporate some different winch mounting options. As most of you Grenadier Ineos fans are probably aware of with the winch, we've only got around 50 foot of rope. That's not enough, because you always have 10 to 12 plus foot stuck on there. So nice winch, just not enough rope. So we're gonna look at doing some changes there to get some more common winches for the US market in there. Plus what I've seen from over in Europe where they're doing some just replacement center sections, which we will do, we'll do a better job. Because currently when you mount that unit on the American spec Grenadier, it actually protrudes pretty far out. Like it's at least out to here. I know that we can go ahead and pull that back. The game about that, bringing that back, is the stronger something, the things are gonna be stronger if you don't hit them. So if we could bring that back where you don't hit it, obviously we are not gonna subject it to that much more abuse. So some other cool things we have coming along. We got our sliders done. They're kind of boring looking, but once you take them apart and see, you'll get it. They are legit. So high clearance. The reason we even came out with doing this slider is there's a couple I don't want to call manufacturers, but smaller companies out there that are doing some pretty cool sliders. I just don't think they're quite up to the task for the abuse. People are like, oh, I'm not going to extreme rock crawl this. Well, when you load 1,000 pounds of gear, which is, you could easily be 1,000 pounds of gear if you're doing legit overlanding in this, and you come over a big breakover and you're hitting this, that's extreme. I mean, even on the dirt. So we've got massive mounting through here, which we talked about in a previous video. And then the ski itself, this piece here, that is replaceable. But what's beautiful is I'm right up just underneath my door. It gives us about maybe 5/8 of an inch clearance, and things could all be individually shimmed out because this actually is 4 separate pieces. So we could kind of tweak some things to make them fit. If there's some inconsistency with tolerances on manufacturing, we could go ahead and change some things up. And the other nice thing, you guys, is this ski is replaceable. So we'll come up with a couple variants. On our short video of making these, people mentioned that a lot of people wanted a step setup, so they wanted it nice and low. So I can now exchange this ski or modify this ski to have a low step one or a lower clearance one. But that's nice. I've already used this thing hitting some stuff and touched it up already. Awesome. I wanted to do some cool little fancy extra pieces over the exterior. Not happening yet, but what is going to happen is here and here will be a step guard that we're machining. It's going to be really cool. We'll do it out of billet just because it's an Ineos. It's not a cheap vehicle. You might as well go for it, right? Also, another thing that we're going to be doing for everybody out there to protect our pretty shiny vehicles from the abuse we're going to dish out to these guys, we're going to do a tubular front brush bar setup, the front fender brush bar. Very Aussie type thing, but very useful when you're getting through the bush. So we're going to incorporate a tab into here that will incorporate this tube, slightly smaller diameter, roll through, come down, and then we'll lock on to our sliders right here. Very nice. Same story, we're going to go with a very light gauge, keep it wicked lightweight. It's all about keeping it as light as we can so we carry more water, food, fuel, beer, whatever you like. Cappuccino while you're traveling the trail. So that'll flare out, come through here, tie in. It's going to snake in by the snorkel side. This tab is going to double in as another purpose for, we'll do a limb riser as well. That's going to carry up into a rack system. I'll get into the rack system in a second here, but that'll be a nice cable limb riser and then the guard coming down through there. So total front end protection for pushing through the bush and having fun without scratching. Something we're really happy about is tent mount roof rack combo. So this is kind of a hybrid. We're using our DirtBox wedgie tent, which is a 134-pound unit. One of the biggest complaints I'm getting with the roof racks on the Grenadiers is the height. It's tall, it's a little bit heavy, everything's a little heavy. It's really hard to make a roof rack structurally strong enough to be able to support the weight, the cross all the way through there without tapping things and whatnot. What's really neat that Grenadier did is we've got roof runners, kind of a plastic runner that is designed to directly support flat weight spread out over it. So instead of coming up with a complete roof rack, a whole frame assembly, and then putting an extruded aluminum frame tent, we just took the tent that sits directly on those pads, and then we incorporate our mounts through here. So we've substituted the aluminum bar, which is, I can't remember the gauge, medium thick, with a DOM 24mm bar, steel bar here, that incorporates into these tie points there. What's neat about this, you guys, ultra low, ultra light. I'm gonna say most roof racks are gonna be 75, 85, maybe 125 pounds, maybe slightly higher. The whole tent with all the mounting, everything on this guy is 155 pounds. So that is wicked light, because most tents are generally pushing 200, 235. So 134-pound tent plus the ancillary components for mounting. Low profile, low wind noise. On this guy, you'll see we've got the Safari windows. A lot of people didn't opt for the Safari windows. And if you didn't opt for the Safari windows, we could slide this guy a little bit further forward. I think it actually looks nice that way. What is very nice with our tent, it's all extruded aluminum all the way around this thing. So like I said, as kind of a replacement for a rack, that's my light mounting options. Now I tie into all these different extrusions, so I'll set up a row of lights in the front, I'll set them up on the sides, and we'll set up on the rear. And as you kind of roll around, it's a kind of a perfect setup through here. I'm gonna do the rear entry on the tent, and then we'll set up a ladder. I'm gonna do some mods to this ladder, some bolt-on mods. This right here is gonna get beat up by big feet climbing up here at night, scratching as you go in, so I'll have something pretty slick here. There's also gonna be a carry-on here that's gonna swing out separately, so I can put sand ladders, roto packs, whatever, directly on the back if we wanted. Also, I have something cool going for this. I don't want to tell anybody yet until we've actually made it. I'll show you, but it's going to incorporate with storage, tent, blah, blah, all that goodie, all that fun stuff. But like you see on the wedgie here, this one's hanging back just a touch right in with the ladder there because I've got the Safari windows. When we don't have the Safari windows, you could scooch that forward. But what's also cool, you guys, is We call them chunk blocks, like the old chunky candy bar back in the day. That's a chunk block right there. What's neat with this, it's a quick connect setup. So basically you pull the pins from here, get this guy up, and boom. My 270-degree awning is off, lickety split. So now, if you don't want to roll around this thing all the time or not planning on using it, you can take it off. And what's cool about it is you've got two components to this. We've got the chunk block itself, which is a neat setup. It's clean. It looks like almost a handhold in a climbing wall. So there's a recess in here with even a drain hole that runs through. And then that's our locking pin configuration. So those bolt wherever you want on the wedgie tent. What's neat also, we have a hard case shower awning that I'm gonna put on the other side. I've got a 5-gallon pressurized water tank that I'm on the other side. So I'll have water, shower, toilet, 270 awning, all those goodies. And you'll see the way this locks in is this slick little open grab right here. So we've got a nice curve so you can put that on there. It rolls through there, lands, and then goes on to elastomer. This elastomer, actually we went through 3 different tests. For cold weather, hot weather, this is enough to preload and keep it locked in so you're not having this thing jingle and rattle and get loose over time. So that's all billet aluminum machined up here in just north of Denver, Colorado, from a place that usually makes stuff to shoot jets out of the sky. So anyway, lightweight, clean, simple, kind of hard to go wrong with that one through there. We'll go ahead and come up with some bigger tent platforms, but to be quite frank, they just get big. They get big and bulky. I've seen a lot of Grenadiers going down the road with the tent hanging off the side here, up high, all over the place. Again, on the comment section, let me know what you guys think about that. I'm not a very tall guy, 5'11", so me and a girlfriend easily hang out in here comfortably. We did, however, get in one of our bigger DirtBox tents this last holiday weekend, and it was pretty spacious, but it wasn't exactly necessary. So let me know if you guys think we should go with a bigger tent on this guy or keep it small, light, nimble, totally survivable, usable, comfortable, but not luxurious. We've got the wedgie tent deployed right now. Now we're just gonna show you the 270 awning. This is one of my favorite things, you guys. Even when the weather, I don't know why, even at night I end up deploying it because it's got LED lighting. That's probably why. So it's just nice when the weather turns sour or the sun's beating down on you. This is the ticket. So it's medium light, meaning we're at about 55 pounds. Which is actually pretty light. We can't go much lighter without sacrificing the gauge of the fabric. So we're gonna leave it at that. We got a hard case awning we're working on, but I don't know, we'll see. I kinda like the soft one. Boom, setup ready to go. LED light strips throughout the whole thing. And then if it gets real rowdy weather-wise, these poles, quarter turn, drop, twist, lock, all the way around. So that weight I told you actually incorporates all that stuff already in there. So that's a nice setup. So you can open up real quick, plenty room, plenty shade, keep you out of the rain, all that other fun stuff. So again, another nice option that you could add on. And again, with the wedgie setup or the chunk block on there, removable, exchangeable. So say some of you guys are lucky enough to have a couple vehicles. You've got your Grenadier, you've got your Toyota, your Jeep, your who knows what it is, or your F-250. If you've got the male portion of that chunk block, you could go ahead and put those quick connects on other vehicles, or maybe it's an expedition trailer. That's actually something huge with the Grenadier guys. If you want to pull a little camping trailer, you could run that on there. You could run the awning or all your ancillary items like the shower, the water pressurized water tank on your trailer. But then if you want to ditch the trailer, you go ahead and move all those components back onto your rig right there. So definitely nice. More goodies. We have so much stuff going on, you guys. It's just, we're trying to get the stuff prototyped and figure out how we're going to do with production on the goodies. And as we kind of move forward with it, I'll show you what it is. One of the really cool game changer things that's happening, we're in the middle of, we've invested a lot of money in this, is we're gonna do a set of portals for this bad boy. That is going to be the answer. If any of you guys are previous G-Wagon owners, you'll understand the hassle of lifting a G-Wagon. The way the suspension's laid out, all these other goodies. Well, this rig is similar to the G-Wagon in that deal, not in the fact the G-Wagon uses Panhard radius arms. This uses a link setup, but it still doesn't have a whole lot of articulation movement, good suspension movement, but not huge, not like a typical rock crawler. The portal setup is going to basically alleviate a problem that we're running into with lifting one of these things. Number one problem with lifting this before, you got to get the components to lift it, so there's a bunch of things to change. But we change our geometry on the whole vehicle when you lift it. You know, as that comes down, that's going to bring that rear axle forward, the front axle back. So you got to lengthen those, change your pinion angles, all that other fun stuff. But the number one Achilles heel with right now on this guy being able to lift it is the CV joints that the drive shafts are. That front pinion angle CV joint is already pretty tight. So right now it comes in like this, and then here's our axle. If I bring that down, it's even more so. So that's fine, it's just riding like that, but as soon as this thing articulates or droops, it's gonna try to bind or snap off that CV joint. So I have some ideas of what we could do to try to eliminate that. None of them are easy, unfortunately. So unless Ineos talks to their manufacturer to see if they could roll that up a little bit, which would also help us with our caster angles and the lack of that thing pulling back. It's still an annoyance. I get it, I'm used to it, but I don't like it. It's hard to rally this thing. It doesn't want to come back automatically. But the portal, what's beautiful, if you guys are not familiar with the way the portal axle works, is it is going to offset from our axle spacing to our center of our hub spacing by, call it 4 inches, maybe 4.5 inches. So in essence, it gives you a 4.5 inch suspension lift with leaving all your suspension completely neutral, completely stock. It's a beautiful thing. The other nice thing with that portal setup is if you're gonna put a set of 35s, which this thing handles 35s fine, but if you wanna be technically correct, it'd be nice to get things re-geared. Some guys are talking about going to 37s. We'll see. I think it'd be pretty neat, but I think 35s would be the better fit. When we go to a set of portals, not only do we achieve our lift without affecting any of the factory suspension, we address that gear change setup. So when we do that gear change setup, we actually achieve that in the gearbox of the portal itself. And the way that works is, I don't want to say the way it works, but the advantage of that is opposed to doing in your axle. Just think about this. Here's my big tire, here's my differential, here's my little string being axle shaft. When I get this big tire, it's gonna take me a lot more leverage to be able to rotate this guy, right? So I'm putting stress on that axle shaft. When I gear this down deeper, I have now, so say I've gone 15% reduction to match the 15% I've gained on my tire. That 15% is now cranking on that axle shaft 15% more across the board, which is exacerbated if you start hopping any of that. By doing a portal axle, we leave this differential alone. We do our gear reduction after the axle shaft right in the hub assembly there. That's a big, big deal right there. So now the suspension thinks it's the same everything. The gear ratio, the truck thinks doesn't even know it's got 35s or 37s on it. So that's coming up. I've already got one prototype sitting here, but I can't show you quite yet. We got a couple of secrets we got to keep. Okay, there is way more stuff, guys. Lots of things. So please stay tuned. Sorry we've been kind of silent. We've just been busy, man. It's that time of the year. So till next time, just let me give you a little teaser. You already know the portals, let the cat out of the bag there. Things to protect the bottom side, things to go further without stopping at fuel stations, ways to carry more stuff in the back that eliminate the need for slider, refrigerators, things like that. You're gonna like it. It's gonna be sweet.